The armory was quiet that Tuesday morning, the kind of quiet that only exists on military bases before the world wakes up and remembers what it is. Sergeant Lena Marsh sat alone at the long steel table, a disassembled rifle spread before her like a puzzle she had solved 100 times. The weapon had jammed twice during yesterday's field drill, and she had volunteered to stay behind and fix it. That was Lena, always the one who stayed. Here is something most people never understand about soldiers like her. The ones who volunteer for the quiet work are not doing it for recognition. They do it because somewhere along the way, duty stopped being a choice and became the only language they knew how to speak fluently. Lena had enlisted at 19, fresh out of a small Kansas town, where the biggest decision most people made was what to plant in spring. She had chosen a different kind of field. And she had never looked back, not once, not even on the days when looking back would have been the easier thing to do. She was running a cleaning rod through the barrel when she heard the door. She didn't look up. Officers walked through armories. It was ordinary. She kept working, her hands moving with the practiced economy of someone who had done this in the dark, in the rain, in temperatures that made the metal burn both hot and cold. It was only when the footsteps stopped completely, abruptly, that she raised her eyes. General Marcus Webb stood 6 feet away. 4 stars. 32 years of service. A man whose name appeared in history books still being written. He was not looking at her face. He was looking at the insignia patch on her vest, a small, worn thing. Embroidered with a mountain peak and a single hawk in flight, the letters 3rd Recon stitched beneath in faded gold thread. His face had gone the color of old ash. Lena set the cleaning rod down slowly. "Sir." He didn't respond immediately. His eyes stayed fixed on the patch, and she watched something move across his expression that she had no name for. Not grief exactly, not guilt exactly, but the particular devastation of a man, confronting something he had spent years carefully not confronting. When he finally looked at her face, she saw that his jaw was tight, his eyes glassy in a way that had nothing to do with the cold. "Where did you get that patch?" he said. "It wasn't a question. My father's," she said. Sergeant First Class Roy Marsh, 3rd Recon, he wore it on his last deployment. She paused. "He didn't come back from that one." The general sat down. He didn't ask permission. He simply sat, heavily, like a man whose legs had made a decision his mind hadn't caught up to yet. And then he told her something that rearranged every story she had ever told herself about her life. 17 years ago, General Webb, then a lieutenant colonel, had led the operation during which her father's unit was compromised. It had been his intelligence. His call, his miscalculation about the extraction window. Roy Marsh had stayed behind to cover the retreat, buying the remaining men 7 critical minutes with the only currency he had left. He had done it without hesitation, without orders, without anything except the absolute knowledge that the men in front of him would not survive if he did not stay. 3 soldiers made it out because of those 7 minutes. Webb had been one of them. He had carried that name, Roy Marsh, for 17 years like a stone in his chest. He had tried to find the family. He was told there was a daughter, that she had been placed with an aunt after her mother's passing, that the trail had gone quiet. He had written letters he never sent. He had stood at a memorial wall once and understood for the first time why people needed to press their hands against stone. And then, on an ordinary Tuesday morning, she had walked into his life wearing her father's patch on her vest. Lena did not cry immediately. She was her father's daughter, and her father's daughter did not fracture in front of generals. But she asked Webb one question, the only one that had ever truly mattered. Did he know? When he stayed behind, did he know it would work? Webb looked at her for a long moment. He looked back once, he said, just once. And he was smiling, she cried then. The steady, silent kind that comes from something long locked finally being released. Webb sat with her and didn't try to fill the silence, because some silences are not empty. They are full of everything that could never be said until now. She finished cleaning the rifle. It seemed important to finish. When she reassembled it, and the action cycled clean and smooth, she looked at the general and said simply, "Thank you for telling me." He nodded once, and in that nod was everything. The apology rehearsed for 17 years, the gratitude never delivered the recognition that some debts cannot be paid but must still be acknowledged every single day for as long as you live. She still wears that patch. On every deployment, every drill, every quiet Tuesday morning, and every armory where she sits alone and finishes what others leave undone, she wears it because her father taught her something without ever saying a word, that the people who stay behind are not the ones who lose. They are the ones who make sure everyone else gets to win. If this story reached something inside you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that the sacrifices we never witnessed still shaped the lives we are living. Drop a comment below and tell me, is there someone in your life whose silent sacrifice you never got the chance to thank? Write their name. Let them be seen, even now, even here,